Therefore, any work that O1 is involved in is mostly outside the group at the temple. He cannot manage or give orders. It means that he has no authority to give orders. Therefore, he does not oversee anything except for the merit making on the first Sunday of the month and the big merit making of the year, which he will oversee the merit making for those who participate in the merit making ceremony. He focuses on overseeing the merit making during meditation because it is O1's familiar routine and no one can compete for this duty. Other than that, O1 will not oversee unless he is specially remembered and that person is not overwhelmed by delusion. Therefore, in Mr. A's case, the disappearance of his 6 billion baht donation from the temple in 2022 was 3 years after O1 left the temple. Only those who are overwhelmed by delusion will not see with their clairvoyance or observe with the Dhamma eye because they are considered to have a dark soul, on the side of sin and the devil. This shows that Mr. A was overwhelmed by delusion at that time. There is only one thing that can make Mr. A overwhelmed. That was what made you believe that O1 was in the temple and still giving orders. That was why, when Yue was shocked that his donation money disappeared from the temple, he still believed that O1 was in the temple, but someone in the temple had already found a way to steal the donation money. O1 would not know if no one reported it. So Yue thought that he would handle the work instead of O1 and solve the problem for O1, which Yue had planned very well. But when he heard the answer from the fake O1 that Yue should stop and retreat, Yue was shocked and confused to the point of almost losing his mind. Why did O1 order him to stop doing that and retreat? Or was O1 delusional or crazy? So he did not see the appropriateness of him to solve the problem for O1 in the temple in such an important matter and also ordered him to stop and retreat. It was like O1 did not know Yue anymore. So he spoke to him like this and did not see the value of him, his heart, his faith, including the hard-earned but abundant money that he had given without any stinginess. O1 acted as if it had no value at all, as if he was only concerned that the temple would lose its reputation and forbade him from doing anything in order to keep the matter quiet like other matters. That would only ruin the temple's reputation, but not solve the root cause at all. It was unlike the O1 he knew, and that was why O1 disappointed Kune to the point of being hurt, sad, and resentful that his loyalty to O1 was rewarded with such coldness, indifference, and disregard. When Kune was not a person who truly reached the Dhamma, was still a worldly person, just had firm faith in Buddhism, Dhammakaya, and Luangpur Dhammajayo, but that faith was destroyed. What would happen to Kune's mind? And because Kune had a mind dominated by delusion, was on the side of sin at that time, O1 did not know what happened to him. Even the news did not reach the real person. He later found out that no one dared to speak. He was ordered to stop. But he did not know who ordered it, and why he listened and did it, when what happened was a big issue that could not be ignored at all. Because Kune did not contact the host or the merit leader who usually received news from Kiantawan, who were considered to be a group of people who were not dominated by delusion, the story would easily reach O1 immediately. Kiantawan remembered that there was a time when he was inspired to send the truth about the famous temple to Kune. And a friend said that he had seen Kune sitting in a wheelchair to make merit and offer alms to the novices at the temple regularly during the noon. But he saw that there were guards around both the temple and Kune's people. So it was difficult to bring any documents to Kune personally without being seen by the people of the cheaters in the temple who strictly prevented anyone from accessing Kune. Because the cheaters certainly did not want Kune to associate with or know the truth from the hidden dragon. But they found a way to send it to Kune's relatives. If in 2022 there was something like this and it had this effect, it means that the document was not sent to Kune and may have been overlooked or someone read it instead and decided on Kune's behalf. Therefore, it was not sent to Kune to read himself. Therefore, it did not let Kune know the truth that O1 in the temple was not the real one. And because the inner area had become a slave of the entire temple's demon side, it was not strange that Kune would receive that answer. And it meant that Kune was prohibited from going in to solve the problem or find out where the problem was with who. Which was an unforgivable act for someone with great faith like Kune's boundless heart. And if in that year 2022, Kune received that answer from O1, it would be equal to O1 denying the knowledge that the money 6 billion disappeared and did not accept any investigation from Mr. A. As a person who made merit with full faith to the extent of donating 6 billion baht for the temple to facilitate hiring the construction of a building that he wanted to receive merit himself. Because someone said that at that time Mr. A was sick, he thought that he did not know how long he would live. He did not want to leave any construction burden. If he was not alive or died, no one would be able to take on the responsibility of building anything for him quickly because he had to tell the devout people. So Mr. A asked the temple if there was anything else to build. To tell them everything, there was a monk's hut. Mr. A built it, which was the Camp Jong Champ. Later, someone told Mr. A to build a new monk's hut instead of the old monk's condo. Mr. agreed to build the 148th anniversary building of Luang Pu Sod without telling anyone. He received the merit himself. When construction began, Mr. A donated enough money to finish the construction with the temple. In case he died before that, the temple would be able to finish the construction because there would be no shortage of money to pay for the construction. This shows that Mr. A has a lot of faith and trust in the temple to this extent. Then he found out later that the money he donated to build the building had disappeared if no one told him. There is no way anyone would know that Mr. A donated 6 billion baht. Before he died, the building was not finished yet, and this money disappeared from the temple. The temple acted as if no one knew about this. Even when O2 was the chairman of every meeting, he said that he did not know about this. Does this mean that he did not know that Mr. A donated to build the building or that the 6 billion baht disappeared? It can be interpreted in two ways. There was a real donation, or there was no real donation. And it became a way for bad people to find a way to deal with Kune by accusing Kune of money laundering, as in the news that Kune colluded with O1 to launder money. Kune gave a large amount of money to O1 in advance so that he could launder the money by building any building in the temple, and then later claim it back when he received donations for building that the temple asked the public for donations to come in later. It was as if to blame the 80-year-old building for being unfinished and abandoned, saying that it was the result of Kune using illegal money to build it first, and then hoping to claim it back from the temple's donations. However, the temple did not pay, causing Kune to have no money to continue construction on the 80-year-old building, including the 148-year-old building that Kune had donated to build himself, which was not yet finished. And because 6 billion baht was missing, all construction had to be halted. As for the 80-year-old building, the temple had already finished raising funds since Dhamachai Day 2022. The temple, led by the monks, has already invited the public to join in building something that is not related to the construction cost of Kune that was donated to build a new monk's residence, which is the 148-year-old building that he will not tell anyone about. But when Kune's money that was donated, which is not related to the 80-year-old building, disappeared, 6 billion. It should not cause a halt to the construction of the 80-year-old building if this money does not disappear as well. The temple should continue to pay for the construction cost of the 80-year-old building to be completed according to the project plan, which is to be completed before O1's birthday in 2024. However, Seeing that Kune has removed all the construction equipment from the construction site and did not continue building even the 80-year-old building because there was no money to continue building. It is possible that the temple did not agree to pay for this part. But according to the former district reporter, the building had to be abandoned and not continue to be built because the matter of half the temple and half the sponsor was an agreement that the temple only wanted to build. But the abandoned building that was not completed, meaning the new monks' building, the temple did not want to build that building in the first place. The sponsor wanted to build it himself. So the temple did not pay. The sponsor should have continued to build it himself with his own money. But the host did not finish it. We have to blame the host. If you do not intend to finish the construction, do not offer to build it in the first place. These kinds of words are unbelievable to come from a monk in the temple who is in charge of the construction. When in fact, Kune intended to receive merit to build a new monk's building as the temple said it really wanted. Kune had already donated more than 6 billion baht for the construction. But the money just disappeared from the temple. We just recently found out that in 2022, Kune found out that his donation to build a new monk's building had gone missing. He was preparing to go in and solve the problem to find out where the money had gone and how it had gone. He thought that it was his duty, as the real owner of the temple, in the sense that Owen had mentioned, to solve the problems for the monks in the temple anyway. Owen had taught and told everyone who was his student. He had heard him say that the temple does not belong to the monks or Owen, but the temple belongs to the host, the devotees who donated to build it to be used to accumulate merit together. The monks only took care of it on behalf of the real owner, who was the laity. But it turned out that when Kune had prepared everything, went to report to Owen, but received an order to stop and retreat. This must have confused and puzzled you, because these two words mean not to do anything, not to investigate anything, not to follow up and let it go. If the money disappears, then let it disappear like that. 6 billion baht, not just 6,000 baht. When you were ordered to stop and retreat, there was no money to pay the various contractors. Where would you get the money to continue building? In your own merit, it was the 148-year-old building. But for the 80-year-old building, which was money that the temple asked for donations from, it had nothing to do with your donations. The temple should have paid you to continue building until it was finished, which would be correct. But when the news later said that there was no further construction on both buildings, it was like that. That the temple did not pay for the part that the temple did not want to build from the beginning, it should only mean the part that was the 148-year-old building. As for the part of the 80-year-old building, the temple should have paid you to continue building until it was finished. But it seems that the person who gave this news wanted to make everyone understand that the temple did not want either of those two buildings at all. So they did not pay for the part that the temple had to pay. In the picture, the building was not completely finished. It is equal to wanting to make people misunderstand that Yue was the one who did not finish building everything, did not continue building because the temple did not pay. And the temple just said that the temple did not pay because the temple did not want to build either of those two buildings. Let people blame you that if you did not intend to finish building it from the beginning, do not say that you wanted to build it yourself from the beginning. Doing things like this is the same as causing the temple to have an abandoned building that was not finished like this. Even though in reality, there was only one building that you were commissioned to build yourself, but the reason it was not continued was because all the money donated earlier disappeared. It has nothing to do with the 80-year-old building that the temple asked the sponsors to build. Yue did not donate this part, but build it according to the temple's contract. So, both buildings were built together. Now that the truth is like this, almost no one knows the truth, and the outer districts have no way of knowing anything. So they can only spread rumors. But the news was released by a source from a former inside district, coming out to criticize Yue for promising to finish it but did not. If the temple did not want it, it would not pay. You cannot claim that the temple paid half and the sponsor paid half because the temple did not want to build that building in the first place. But the person who released the news does not know the truth that in fact, the host was Mr. A and had already donated more than 6 billion baht to build that building. But it was all gone. So how could they continue building it? And they probably didn't know that when Mr. A came to solve the problem and find out where the money had gone to whom. He would meet a fake O1 who ordered him to stop and retreat like that. If it were an ordinary person, if they heard the words, stop and retreat, it would mean that Yue should stop all construction and retreat, no need to build anymore, right? Because there is no money left, but don't let them search for where the 6 billion baht went, just stop building and retreat, because Yue could think like this too, right? That's why Yue decided to take all the construction equipment back, which means retreat and stop building anymore. That's it, so both projects became abandoned buildings as seen in the temple now. It's sad that at that time, MangkornSonkai also inspired the person who knew the truth to tell Kyuntawan to find a way to send the truth about the famous temple directly to Yue at that time. Kyuntawan didn't know the reason, she just knew that she had to find a way for someone to take it to Yue. So she coordinated with a friend who saw Yue making merit with the novices every day and every noon. We still thought that it was a blessing that my friend would be the one to bring the documents to Yue before getting in the car to go back. But it must be because of Yue's past karma that this time, the friend who received the merit. Even though the merit side by MangkornSonkai knew that his friend would be the one to carry the documents to Yue, but when the time came, his friend changed his method. Instead of giving it to you personally as planned, your friend was afraid that someone would see him and that he would be in danger. So he changed his mind and gave the documents to your relatives in front of the temple instead. That way, he wouldn't have to take any risks. At that time, Kyuntawan thought that it was a blessing that made him do that, but in fact, it was karma because it made Yue not know the truth from O1, the real dragon hiding in his body, as O1 wanted. Of course, if that friend had taken it and done what they had talked about and didn't change the plan, the dragon O1 would follow to control the merit and make sure that no one saw when the friend walked to deliver the documents to Yue. Because whoever works for O1 will definitely protect that person and keep them safe. And O1 had prepared to protect his friend according to that plan. But when he changed his mind because of fear, he didn't contact Kyuntawan first to ask if he could change the person who received the documents. If he had asked, he would have gotten the answer that O1 would definitely control the merit for him and not change the plan at all. Because it wasn't him working alone and taking risks alone. It definitely wasn't like that. But he was afraid and thought that it was too risky to do that. And instead of telling Kyuntawan, who planned it like that, why he was going to change the plan. If he told him, the plan wouldn't change and would be successful because Kyuntawan would be able to explain to him to make him confident. But he didn't say that he was afraid. And changing the plan by himself without telling anyone is equal to making O1 and Kyuntawan lose the plan. When he changed his mind to give it to his relative instead without having to take a risk, he was relieved, thinking that he would survive and was smarter. But no, he made O1 lose the opportunity and waste merit for nothing because it turned out to be the wrong goal, causing O1 to be unable to inspire that relative to send the documents to Kune himself on another unclear occasion, and that relative might have forgotten or secretly opened and read it first. Later, there was news that that relative of Kune had done something on Kune's behalf in catching cheaters at various temples for a period of time. If it was a different time from the time the incident with the donated money went missing, It could be assumed that it was because that relative had read the documents and confidently went to manage something at the temple because he believed that the hidden dragon was O1. But if it was around the same time as the money Kune offered went missing or after it went missing, it made Kune's relative go in to prepare to find the root of the cause of the disappearance and was confident that when the time was right, if everything was prepared, Kune would report to O1. He would definitely be ordered to go for it. But when the answer from O1 tells you to stop and retreat, if this is the case, you must be extremely confused because the dragon hiding in the body is O1, saying one thing, but when reporting, he was ordered by O1 to stop and retreat. But in fact, if you had read the document or your relatives had read the document, they must have known that he probably didn't talk to the real O1 anymore. Because if someone really got the answer from O1 to tell him, O1 at that time, the real O1 wouldn't have to find a way to tell the truth about the famous temple through the dragon hiding in the body method to send to UA for sure. But when the friend took it to the relatives instead of taking it to UA, the person who knew the real thing told Kiontawan that the dragon said UA had received it and read it. But there was an event that made you believe the words of the monks in the temple more. Because during the year of COVID 2019 and the year the temple was closed later, there was news that the fish pond in front of the church was being filled. Before filling it, there was news of moving very large fish in the temple's pond to another place. And it was known that it was Yurei's company that was contracted to work on filling this area to prepare to build some kind of building that had not yet been announced by the temple. The filling of the cherished fish pond of Grandma Chan and O1 is unlikely to be the real O1's wish and to do it at that time. We who follow Mangkorn already know that O1 left the temple since February 2, 2019. Therefore, for Kune to do a big job that must be really certain about filling the fish pond, there must be a reference to O1 and make Kune believe that O1 wants that. A person like Kune would not just listen to the words of a big secretary. The more we listen to when Fra AR announced the merit of building the 80th anniversary building, telling the story that Fra AR took the map to ask for advice from O1 to build a building to worship the Dharma to celebrate O1's 80th anniversary. He pointed to the map to see if O1 would allow it or not and where to build it. He proposed 2 places, but O1 chose the 2 fish ponds in front of the chapel that Fra AR did not propose. This shocked Fra AR, because he had known all along that this fish pond was the most beloved and cherished of both O1 and Grandma Chan. This kind of story gives an image of whether there was a conversation with O1 in person or just a video chat. The one who sees the face as O1 and speaks with the voice of O1 is the same as the WorkPoint channel that has a program called Twins Who Are Different that shows an AI program that remembers the face and details of the face of the person it wants to imitate and also records the voice and style. When another person is put through the program, the face and voice will be exactly the same as that twin. Mangkorn. O1 also said that there is a real twin O1 in the temple with AI. The truth is that the monk who told the story of asking permission from O1 to build the 80-year-old building should have told the same story as when he told Kune to fill the fish pond. He told Kune first. Kune accepted the merit of filling the fish pond, but did not pay for the building. He asked the temple to ask the devotees for donations. We know that 06 was the one who found a kidney for Kune to replace it in the year that Kune had kidney problems. This made Kune feel like he was indebted to 06 for his life. Therefore, even if Kune knew from the dragon hidden in the body about what 06 had done to O1, Kune could not get involved or obstruct if 06 wanted to do something to the temple or not. And Kune would not be the one to drive away or deal with 06. Is it because of this merit or not? But Kune would not accept any sin from 06 either. But the fact that Kune's donation money disappeared 6 billion baht, in 2022, is something that Kun-ae could not let go of because it was 100% Kun-ae's merit to successfully build the 148-year-old Luang Phu Sod building. Only the money that he donated, 6 billion baht, was used to build the 148-year-old building. It is not related to the construction cost of the 80-year-old building that the temple asked the devotees for donations on Dhamachai Day 2022. This means that the 6 billion baht was missing before the temple invited the devotees to join in the merit making of building the 80-year-old building on August 27, 2022. However, the reason for stopping the construction of the 80-year-old building was because the temple did not have the money to pay for the construction itself. It has nothing to do with Kun-ae. The 148-year-old building was not completed because the 6 billion baht was missing. It is a different matter. However, the news that Nozo posted about the area outside seemed to intentionally provoke people to misunderstand Kun-ae, saying that he wanted to build the 148-year-old building but did not finish it. The temple did not pay half of the money because the temple did not want to build it. This immediately shows the intention of the cheaters in the temple, that they wanted to push the financial problem onto the host, Kun-ae, who did not have the money to continue the construction and hoped to get money from the temple to help pay half. When the temple did not pay, Kun-ae did not continue the construction, intentionally concealing the fact that Kun-ae had already paid in advance and donated 6 billion to the temple for the construction of the 148-year-old building. It has nothing to do with the 80-year-old building that the temple invited to build later. And that money disappeared before the temple invited to build the 80-year building. But the fundraising for the 80-year building after the donation was almost finished. The fact that the construction was stopped and all the equipment was taken away seemed to indicate that even the money for the construction of the 80-year building had also disappeared. When Kun-ae was going to solve the problem, he got an answer from the fake O1 telling Kun-ae to stop the construction and not to solve the problem. Kun-ae definitely couldn't do it and misunderstood the real O1 to the fullest. For this reason, MangkornSonkai inspired the real person to tell Kyuntawin to cut out only the important words and make a short clip and send it via Facebook to Kun-ae to tell the important truth during the past week by having Kyuntawin dream of seeing the two eyes of a man's face. His left eye was black and his right eye was red. His face was painful, anguished and resentful. The knowledge that came to the dreamer's mind was Kun-ae's face. When Kyuntawin woke up, he got an explanation from the real person that MangkornSonkai confirmed again that it was a reflection that Kun-ae's heart at this time was one of resentment for losing the donation money. 6 billion baht in 2022 and one part of him is fighting the devil who is trying to make him think badly about O1 and the entire temple group who ordered him to stop and retreat from what he should have been ordered to confirm to solve the problem of the missing donations because it is the duty of the real temple owner, like him as well. Which O1 had already told his children outside the area. But why did the order from O1 at the moment of the fight change to the opposite and mean that he had to accept the loss of his donations that he had worked his whole life for to gain the last great merit before ending his own life on any day that he did not know about? It went without any merit and he still could not use his ability and the best experience to deal with the missing money like this for O1, which is unbelievable that it could be like this. If it were someone else, the matter of a large amount of money missing like this might be at a loss. There would be no way to find it, no way to do it. But with Kun-ae, he is an expert in making money well, so there must be a way to find it if the money is missing. But being ordered to stop and retreat is like forcing Kun-ae to accept the disappearance. Not allowing him to do anything he could do, like tying his hands and legs in place, keeping his mouth shut and not telling anyone to do it instead. And also told him to retreat, that is, not to interfere in anything like what he did, which was to leave the building abandoned and unfinished like today. After 2 years, the image that Kyeontawan saw in his dream told him that Kune was holding a grudge over this matter, was suffering the most, and someone had to give him light before he lost to the devil. So we can only hope that by making the clip last week and sharing it again as a short clip specifically for Kune like that, there will be someone brave and have enough merit to send it to Kune as soon as possible. Don't make the same mistake with Kune again. Because if the devil oppresses Kune during the time when he is extremely depressed, do you think Kune's heart will be on the white or black side? Where will it take him? I want everyone to sympathize with Kune, who is the benefactor of this group of 01, the real one, and find a way to repay his kindness in time. Don't let the devil seize the opportunity to cut him off while his heart is still depressed like this. Who could be a fighter like Ed, who has devoted his life and soul to seeking justice for Taengmo, in helping seek justice for 01 and let the truth be the light for Kune at this time? Anyone who helps send any short or long audio clips, messages from Mangkorn 01 sent by Kyeontawan will gain great merit in helping Kune seek justice for himself as soon as possible and will make him be able to help seek justice for 01 in this life as well. Demanding the rights of merit for all of 01's children who will have the temple back as the property of the merit-making side. How enormous will this be? Those who create merits who will go to the end of Dharma, please help share information from us with all your might. 01 will surely control the merits in the details so that everyone can work successfully and safely. Whoever grabs this merit, we wish to congratulate them. Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu.
Family